Hey guys, we just returned from my Decaying village in Pskov Oblast, and this year we traveled there, 4 of us, with a dog.
And today we're going to share our experiences with you.
This is Natasha from Russia.
And Eric from Washington, D.C.
And welcome to my channel, Natasha's Russia.
You see, Pёсик became very nervous. Since she came back from village, she became Brunhilda. She's not lucky anymore.
Okay guys, before we start, I want to remind you to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications, as well as follow me on another social media, because I post different content there. I see that plenty of people watch my videos, but more than half of them are not subscribed to my channel, so don't miss this opportunity to see more of Russia that you will never see on TV. So last year I made a video about my village of my ancestors, and it became very popular once, remember? It got like more than 100,000 views, but YouTube decided to delete it. Anyway, I figured out that this topic is very interesting, and this year was different because we went like 4 of us, and Eric was with us.
And I want to share my experiences and my thoughts about what I did there, and there's a lot of things that were very new to me and I'm not very accustomed to, so these will be the things that I thought were interesting.
Another thing I wanted to share with you, actually, to see like the real Russia, you know, while we traveled, we saw plenty of another places. You saw small towns also as well, and how people live away from St. Petersburg and Moscow, and to see this contrast. We started our journey from Moscow railway station.
Yeah.
In the center of the city, St. Petersburg.
Yeah, and this was the first time I have ever been like on a real train. Like I've been on the Electrichka and on the metro in a bunch of different cities, you know, like a subway, but not like a train going on a trip to a journey. And what's interesting about it to me is the way it's set up, because they obviously have in mind that people are going to be on these things for maybe days at a time because they have beds in them. It's not like Hogwarts, or the Hogwarts Express or anything. So they fold out and you sleep on them, or you have a little table that you sit there and drink tea or coffee out of these interesting little ornate mugs.
How did you like coffee, by the way? The guy cooked for you specially.
The coffee was excellent, so I enjoyed it.
Actually, it was a bunch of bullshit, but anyway.
Well, I'm being polite. So.
How's the train for you?
The train? It's alright.
That was a long distance train, and I decided, actually, there are plenty of different types of carriages in this train, but I decided to book for us the typical one that most of Russians use. We are not rich bastards to travel in comfort and all this kind of stuff. So I decided actually to show you the average thing that most of people use.
Well,
that was the idea.
It's normal economy class, and it's not like I don't travel economy everywhere else, so.
We paid something like 1,800 rubles, I guess, for a ticket per person, and Isol's got discount because she's a kid, and the dog, we had to pay for her too, by the way.
Which was a problem by itself, but we managed to figure it out in the end.
No. I knew that we have to pay. What's the problem?
Well, it was a problem because we couldn't figure out how to buy her a ticket.
It's, we couldn't figure out how to buy it online. But by the way, yeah, if you're gonna travel through Russia by train with an animal, you can't take animal to any type of carriage with you. You need to search for a carriage or train that allows animals. And you can see it in options when you buy tickets. It's gonna be written there. Animals are allowed in this carriage, and you buy it.
But not goats or chickens. It's a different carriage.
But there are rules. I told you before we traveled, by the way, there are certain rules. Like I apply, for example, it's to take clothes with yourself and change it to feel comfortable, and clean clothes because there are too many people around. So I all the time take with me clean clothes, and I, change it there.
Yeah, and this makes a lot of sense because, I mean, when you sleep, generally your head is facing toward the outside of the center of the train, and there are a lot of feet in the corridor, and it's just polite to have clean socks and perhaps even cleaner feet, when you're traveling.
It's not only clean feet, that's why, yeah, I remember I told you, take socks exactly with you and replace them. It's not like just because your legs are smelly, but it's also like, it's just polite because people are gonna, pass by and see your dirty feet, and it's not really cool. That's what we all the time do.
We prepared all our own food, and so we had chicken sandwiches, and we had a lot of, like, bullechki, or pastries and stuff, things to kind of eat with our hands.
I prepared vegetables, like usually people take eggs, chicken, cucumbers, and tomatoes, and salt I packed with us too.
Yeah.
And a lot of course, sweets, but it is, yeah. Many people, actually, you didn't see it, but many people travel with their own cup, because there is a boiler inside each carriage where you can go and just, you know, open and fill your cup and make tea if you want. We didn't care much, we just bought it directly from the household crew.
Okay, so Natasha's dad met us at the train stop, and we continued our journey by car, which is a little different. It's actually not that far away, but because of the roads, the condition of the roads, it was kind of long, so we have to go really slow. And we have to be careful because, you know...
It was night, actually. It was dark.
Yeah.
We didn't see anything.
No.
Because we arrived like around 9 something, I don't remember.
At night, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like half of the road is not fixed. And then we had to take a road to my village, which goes through forest.
There's no lights, except for the light the car makes, but once we were there, it was fine. Okay, so my first impressions, what's absolutely obvious is how beautiful the scenery is. It's like walking into Hobbiton out of a fairy tale, because everything is so lush and green. There are gardens, there's even hobbit babushkas that are sitting there pruning their bushes and making jam or whatever, or pulling water from the well, which we'll talk about more. But, I mean, it's like a village, the way you would imagine a real, like, you know, a fairy tale kind of village.
It's remote, you heard, like, it's calm, there's nothing going on. Absolutely, you're somewhere in the middle of nowhere, in forest, you know?
Yeah.
Without any connection to anything, even mobile phone is not working. You saw that connection, I couldn't catch connection there even just to call to someone. Who are the people who live there? Like, half of them are actually Belarusians. Our neighbors,
yeah,
from Polotsk, and so it's like mixed community completely, part from Belarus, part from Russia.
Yeah, well, it's kind of very reminiscent of any other kind of border town where you have people from different countries living, and they kind of cross around, they have relations across the borders, and I mean, that was very obvious. Also, what is was apparent to me was how close the community was, because, I mean, Natasha seems to know everyone there, even the Gopnik that tried to swing a shovel at us.
People know each other, people know what's going on, people know, like, who is the son or daughter of whom, etc, etc, etc. And I remember when we went to wash clothes in the stream, there was one man, he came and asked, "Who are you? You are whom?" And I named the surname of my granddad, so he figured out who I am. And he's from completely different village, because there are not so many people, and like, yeah, people know each other. I was like, imagine, I used to spend every summer there, every summer since I was born, and the village was completely different. Of course, there was life and young people, shops were working, we had even library. This one that we recorded, remember?
Yeah.
The broken one you saw. It was working. I was going there and, you know, grabbing some books to read. Can you imagine? It's hard to believe right now.
Yeah.
In which state it is.
Well, in the state that it is right now, it's completely fallen. Like, everything, the floor is fallen in, the roof is fallen in, the walls have fallen in.
That's sure, it's broken. Yeah. So right now it's hard to imagine that this village once was, like, you know, thriving. There was school, there was a healthcare point, there was pochta, this post office. There were 2 shops there, one on train station and one at close to my home. We recorded.
Yeah, just down the road.
Can you imagine? And
yeah.
There was train station, people were working there, and they were living close by, and I showed you this place where they lived. Like, plenty of them, plenty of workers who were, like, you know, maintaining these train stations, and many people were traveling from this side to Belarus and opposite. It was like a connection point. And this railroad is a very old one. It's like 1907, I think. It was built on the money of French people, actually, because there was treaty between French and Russians during that time, because Germany was too strong and they were afraid that they're gonna attack them, you know, what actually happened. So French decided to, you know, invest in Russia, to let Russia faster to bring their forces to the border with Europe. And this is how our railroad happened. And this building that we saw of the train station, it's actually a historical one, which is quite interesting. That's why they preserved it. They didn't, you know, demolish it or something, and it's supposed to be under protection, but it's not. In reality, you saw.
Yeah.
They just closed it, everything, and the whole railroad, if you go through this, it has all this type of buildings, and all of them are considered to be historical, because when they were built, and by whom? By Tsarist regime, you know, at the time. It's quite interesting how they were organized. And this water tower, it's also as well They are just a few of them. I forgot the number, how many, by the way. 30 something, but only 16 remained on the whole track. And one of them was in my village. This water tower was supplied before with water from the nearest lake. Last year I didn't go there. I was afraid to go on, to be honest, because it's been years since I've been there last time. And you saw it's not a really pleasant travel. But I mean, it's creepy a little bit at the end. But this year I decided to take you with me, so both of us could go there. And even more, I asked my neighbor to give me a key from his boat, so we could go and see the lake.
Yeah. So we started at the train station, and right behind that train station is a path, and it goes on top of a dam, or an earthen dam that they use to, to supply the water tower. And it's very narrow. It's full of mosquitoes and horseflies. But we made it there, and we were able to to push off into the water with this wooden boat. It was very nice. It's very interesting. Luckily, I had the boots to do this.
So let's see. Oh my god! Look at this road! There is swamp here. There is swamp there. I'm driving with one hand.
Waiting for you to fall off the edge.
I will not fall.
Okay, good. This is the lock?
Are you sure that's the lock? Look down, look down.
Oh, there's another lock. I was wondering. This can't be.
Так, take this oars. Отлично. I have the stick, so now we're gonna use it to take off from this land. You know what's this white thing?
Oh, to bail out water?
Yeah. Can you swim?
Huh?
Can you swim?
Can you swim?
I swim perfectly.
Okay.
Now you feel like you're
Italian gondola. There once was a ship that was put to sea. The
Just
name
I will
of the
throw
ship
you
was-
here in the water right now. Are we in the center? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to look.
I don't see. This is the biggest lake in the area. Belarus is here, Belarus is there, and we're in Russia. The interesting part of this lake, what I wanted you to see also, is because there were no villages at that time. There was one village close to that lake called Neklach, and when they built this train station, the train station was named by this village. It was Neklach too.
Oh.
So what happened next is train station was quite far from the village, so they moved their houses to our villages. So it's quite interesting how we traveled and we didn't see any life there. Basically, you can't imagine that there was something. The only few signals that there was something is this apple trees inside forest, which is weird. They're normal apple trees.
They're apple trees, but it's not just they're wild apple trees. They're apple trees that have been planted in a row, and that indicative of an orchard of some kind, or like a garden orchard. And but it's been overtaken by the rest of the the forest.
Nature, And then the last thing we saw is this pumping. What's remained from the pumping station. And when I was young, I even remember how it was working. Actually, this building used to pump water from this lake and deliver it to the train station, to the water tower. This is what's remained from the whole village. It's a weird structure here. This wall looks very weird. It looks like... Look at it. Looks like big stones here. They used to do this during Tsarist time, I guess. And there are bricks here everywhere. Another thing, there are plenty of gunshots here too. Look. Look at this. Look at this. And I guess it's my neighbors who come here to hunt. Then look at this piece of rock there. Just it's gonna fall on our head.
Right now, inside that pumping station is absolutely nothing. In fact, what do they call it? There's evidence where things were mounted to the wall, or where things might have been bolted down. like machinery, but there's nothing there now. And the in any case, it looked like there was stuff there, but there was obviously nothing there then when we saw.
Look, it's like how many years passed, yeah. And people, you know, they just not only nature takes everything, but people take everything what they can carry with them. That's like real Russian, you know, mentality. It's the way that I saw also a railroad. Remember, we're moving and then railroad disappears. See the railroad and no railroad. I guess it's been stolen. Because, you know, people just gather this metal and they sell it to somewhere else and gain money. I didn't give a shit that they are ruining the whole railroad. My great-granddad was a head of kolkhoz, okay? Kolkhoz is a collective farms in Soviet Union. So I wanted to show you what's remained from that, and we went there and we recorded from drone. And we didn't see anything. Because, you know why? Not just because nature took it all, but because people took everything from that buildings. And I even remember how I moved with my granddad by horse on this telega, you know, and I was gathering
shingles,
I don't know,
tiles.
It's in English anyway. We were taking these things from there, stealing basically, because nobody needed them. And this is just a very good example of Russian mentality, you know, take whatever is.
If it's not bolted down, it's free.
Yeah, and right now there's nothing. It's just forest there.
So
we saw this thing I showed you, like press.
Yeah.
It was collective farm. There were plenty of like pigs there, cows, etc., etc. And they used to dry grass. So they used to put this grass between these cement massive constructions and move on cars, you know, and press it and save it for the animals. And this is just the only things that are remained, cement, because I can't, you know, carry cement, I guess. That's why. About life, I wanted to show you a little bit from the, you know, previous generation, what I experienced at that time, because right now nothing remained from this, how we used to cut grass.
So I was given a little bit of an instruction on how to use a sickle or a scythe, you know, like the Grim Reaper kind of. Well, in the end, I was cutting, but it takes some, you know, coordinated movement to do.
And this is what my granddad, can you imagine, like, every day he was doing this, like, wake up at 5 and like till 9, then he has like short break and goes again to field, and then you go, all of you, turn this grass a few hours. And that's why I told you, remember before, like when people start to romanticize this life in the village, there's nothing romantic about that, because it's hard work to do on the field, under sun, under these goddamn mosquitoes with these horse flies. Can you imagine?
I don't have to imagine.
And it was used till like I was young, so imagine how many years passed. I mean, people were using this.
Yeah, where these things were normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you believe?
Yeah. Oh, one tidbit of information that we learned. So Natasha's impression was that electricity came to the village in the early 1910s or something. But then we talked with Baba, and she said, no, electricity didn't come to the village until the 1970s.
Even 80s, she was like,
yeah.
Maybe in 80s even. And I was like, what? Can't be, so imagine.
So, I mean, that's Russian village.
Another thing is water.
Oh yeah, I have never drawn water from a well in my entire life until I went to Russian village, where I was cast into servitude to supply water to the household every day, twice a day, at the very least.
Let's be honest, we just brought you to use you there, you know.
All of a sudden, everyone had back.
All
of a sudden, everyone had back problems.
Listen, it was actually, actually, there's one thing I haven't spoken on Instagram. That actually, yeah, I had a real big troubles with back. I don't know what happened. Maybe nervous or something. I couldn't stand up from the bed.
So, but it was actually a very interesting experience for me. So I learned how to use a shoulder yoke. And I mean, I didn't use it so much because I mean, I was gender shamed into not using it. So I was like, okay, but nonetheless, it was I carried water via bucket and in my hands, and you put it into, you know, the reservoir for the sink, and that's what we use to cook, to wash, and to drink.
And then you understand the value of water. There are a few things that we learned in village. One of them is like, damn it, how much of water we use, you know?
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
I wasn't that conservative because I was gonna draw it anyway, but I mean, it's very apparent. I mean, it's clear how much water you go through when you wash dishes, especially when, you know, you can see it right in front of you drain out of the reservoir. One thing also that I did that I've never done before in civilization is wash clothes in a river.
wasn't like really river big one, but anyway, it was like stream maybe.
Well, the water was, you know, running, and then we put our wash in, you know, these into these big basins, put some, you know, detergent on there and let it sit for a while. But we take all of that and we go down to the stream, and then we rinse out, you know, the detergent, and, you know, it's the rinse cycle basically. But we're doing it in this, you know, in this stream. Never done that before. I was beat by her dad in the banya with sticks.
Ooh.
I know. Banya. I've been to banya before, but I mean, this is a very, you know, like, it had tile and, you know, polished aluminum and everything like that. So it was banya, but not Russian village banya. But this was Russian village banya. It was made out of wood and mud and you know, like a pechka, and you know, it was fired with
Dark.
Yeah, and smoky. The smoky part was really nice. It smelled good. But I mean, that's a village banya, and so males get priority service.
Yeah, first we go to banya each Saturday. That's tradition. The first male go to banya, then women with children, and then old people. That's Russian tradition.
Then anyway, Natasha's dad, he offered to take these birch branches and beat my back with them.
It's called paritsa. He called you, let's go, will you go paritsa? It's called in Russian language. This was exactly everything. Like, you increase temperature firstly, it's very hot there, and then
yeah, and what it's supposed to do, I mean, I am hypothesizing here, just, you know, based on my own common sense here, is that, you know, you kind of beat the skin and you know, draws blood toward the surface, and, you know, it kind of, it's therapeutic that way.
And I think smell also, you know, these trees, smells enter your skin or whatever. That's their idea was. Like, if I'm gonna beat you with something that has smell, you will, you know.
Yeah. She beats me with a pine stick. I mean, it would smell like pine.
This was our experience of almost abandoned, decaying Russian village. Thank you for watching this video.
Remember to like and subscribe.
If you have any questions about my village, about our experience, you can leave them in comments. We are gonna answer them.
And for now, we will see you later.
And пока-пока!
Bye!